If I'm a Star Wars collector like I know I am, then you probably like collecting army builders. Characters that can appear in multiples, usually, faceless villains, well, even heroes. It helps build out the universe. I mean, as a kid, you probably might have been lucky to own more than one Stormtrooper. Okay, you probably weren't because most people's parents bought you one. But if you had a Stormtrooper, likely you didn't have a Sandtrooper because, well, they didn't make a Sandtrooper. And it's a shame because Sandtroopers probably have more variety than any other, than the regular Stormtroopers. You got dirty, you got different colored pauldrons, you got different shoulder armor. So there's definitely an opportunity to dig deep here. And Hasbro did just that. In the Saga era, we were treated to the first Stormtrooper Sandtrooper Army Builder pack. This followed on the proper Sandtrooper Troop Builder set, which contained 4 flashback series Stormtroopers. And at the same time, there was actually a release of the Endor Trooper as a troop builder. But the reason that I'm not covering this in this series, other than this still image, is because there was zero change. It was the exact same figure that was released on a basic card. You just got 4 of them. So same figure, no change, and if there's no change, there's really no reason to cover it, even though that's what I'm doing right now. Well, actually, sort of, metaphorically? I don't know. Let's move on. Let's get back to the Sandtrooper. All right, so now this is a unique set because each one of these is different, unlike the Endor Troopers and the Stormtroopers, which were actually different because they didn't have the blaster damage. Now, like I said, we never got Sandtroopers as a kid, which is a shame because, again, once you tool one, all you had to do is redeco the shoulder pad, and now you've got different ones. I think the colors are rank, right? Sergeant, Lieutenant, Admiral, something like that. I don't know. Go look it up, nerds. But we've had a lot of Stormtrooper with pauldron, and we've had proper Sandtroopers with backpack and dirty deco. In fact, the dirty deco has been done with lots of different techniques, from spray washes to what are called paint flecks to actual doing straight up paint deco. So there's been a lot over the years. First one we got was in Power of the Force 2, which was a modified version of the Power of the Force 2 Stormtrooper, so it had that, bulky solo flex look. The new ones that were out in the Troop Builder pack had the advantage of looking at several different bodies that had been developed at this point. And obviously there were more Stormtrooper, Sandtrooper bodies to come. So the one they wound up going with was the version that came out for Power of the Jedi, which was this one, which had a muddy deco and a gray pauldron. It's actually not the character that's in the photo, which is kind of funny. The photo is the character with the orange shoulder pad that said, "Move along." This guy is the one from the special edition that was using binoculars looking at dewbacks. Like I said, this is not the only Sandtrooper we've gotten, and we've gotten better ones. We've gotten sort of ultimate versions of the Sandtrooper over years, and Hasbro has been nice enough to repaint it several times so that we could get all sorts of different effects. Standard Stormtroopers tend to just be, all in white, but hey, if you're going to do a Sandtrooper, it's kind of cool to get an all-white one without any sand damage, and this is one of the only versions that was ever released this way. Almost every other Sandtrooper has damage of some sort. There were some, I'm not saying, there weren't exceptions. There have been Sandtroopers released without dirt deco, but for the most part, we tend to get dirty ones. The modern set only had a Stormtrooper with a pauldron, so that army builder was not Sandtroopers. We've collected them many, many times, and the only time we've actually gotten a proper set of Sandtroopers altogether was in the Saga era. I'm sure eventually we will get a kind of Hasbro Pulse version. Tends to be what's going on these days. But this was a pretty cool time to be collecting Star Wars figures because, if you were into army building, for very little you could bulk up. Still a character that we never got, and I think that's a reason a lot of people have been attracted to this one. It's just that missing piece from our childhood. Hey, it's been resolved, and I'm sure we'll get more Stormtrooper Sandtroopers to come.